But we appreciate it. Thank you. It's always good to see you.
Thank you, Rod.
Thanks, Rod.
Next item then on the agenda, we've got a Pulaski County Public Library Board appointment. KRS 173 requires that the appointment be made by the county judge with the approval of the fiscal court. I would like to submit Shirley Dick Wolf to serve another 4-year term on our Public Library Board.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Did you have anything you wanted to address the court with this morning?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you. We have no old business on the agenda. We do have some new business. I've got several hires we need to look at for mainly seasonal help. First, we've got 4 that we want to hire for our seasonal at our park. We've got Kaylin Coomer, Lexi Cox, Tanner Wielden, and Abigail Foreman. Do we need to do those separate since they're seasonal help? Kaylin Coomer, Lexi Cox, Tanner Wielden, Abigail Foreman.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then we also have, on a seasonal basis, we have Russell Lovelace, who's worked for us this past year. He's also up for seasonal rehire. I need another motion, yes.
Motion.
I'm sorry.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, then we've got, down at the park, you know, we're expecting this to be our biggest year ever. We've got a lot of events coming up, and we've already booked a lot of our campsites. It's going to be a busy year. We're asking to get more security help in our park. So we've got this, in addition to Mike Wallace, we need to rehire. I'd also like to hire Danny Weddle to fill part of that time with Mike Wallace. So need a motion for those 2.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion, the second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Then finally, you all know that Leslie has gone home to be full-time mom, and so I'm without a secretary, and I've got a young lady that I think will be willing to work on an interim basis, just for a while to see if it's something. Her dad's kind of sick right now, and she doesn't know if she's going to have to spend time with him or not, but she's willing to come in and try to work with us. Her name is Amber Rutherford, or Amber Travis, I guess is the married name. I'd like to just let you know I'm going to be bringing her in, so she'll be feeling. I don't think it requires a motion, does it?
To do what?
Yes.
On my secretary, does it?
Yes.
She wants paid to us.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a motion, Mr. Wielden?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all. All right.
Gentlemen, she'll be starting in 2 weeks. Those people will be starting in 2 weeks, right? It's the next.
I think our seasonal park help will start Thursday, I think.
Well, we'll just make sure with Dawn she can.
Okay. And then Russell, I think, will be starting right away, too. Okay. Next item then on the agenda is our department reports. Sheriff, do you have anything for us this morning? Is there a jailer with us? I think so. Clyde Strunk's not with us. Stacy Halcomb, do you have anything for us today? Okay.
Back like September 11th of 2017, we started a fire recruit class over at the training center. They finished up their class. We had, I think it was 28 firefighters that's now certified. They're 150 hours. The class was taught by the state. All we had to do is provide the place for them to have. So we added to our fleet of volunteer fire service, so 28 people is now certified.
That's good.
We try to have one of those about every 2 years. So we'll have another one maybe.
We need a bunch more though, don't we?
Yeah, you was on hand, Judge. You seen the firefighters, so.
Yeah.
We had a little graduation thing for them this weekend, so.
Excited to see that, but yeah, we could always use about 30 or 40 more, couldn't we? Thank you. And I'm sorry, Linda, I skipped over our county clerk back here. Did you have anything this morning? Okay. Road Department, Jordan, do you have anything for court this morning?
Few things this morning. First of all, being approval of our road work request.
I have a speed limit on there. I don't know if anybody else does. I didn't see nobody else, but. Like I said, a speed limit on Dead Ox Hollow Road at 25 mile an hour.
So we've got on Dead Ox Hollow Road, we have what is that speed limit? We've got a 25 mile an hour speed limit on Dead Ox Hollow Road. We'll need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then you've got a copy of the rest of the road work request. We need a motion to approve that.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Next thing being the approval of 3,000 ton of various rock for the month of April.
Motion.
Second. Motion and second. For any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thirdly, we talked a few weeks ago about mowing tractor, the side mount mowing tractor. And if you all are comfortable with it, we'd like to request to put out for bid of that tractor. Before we do, though, one thing that we found out, we talked about buying on state contract. The more I got to digging into it, I believe we can find some cheaper options outside of that. So that's why I'd like to request for bid, and I put some of the specs of a tractor that matches kind of what we need out there. And I think we could probably save considerable based off of state contract.
Could I also suggest maybe doing a reverse auction through CAECO on that? Looking into that option also. We've done that before. I don't know if anyone remembers it or not, but we've done that before and we did really well with that. But it might be good to for Jordan to talk to someone with CAECO about doing a reverse auction for that, because you can get some very, very good deals.
Okay.
Because they're bidding against each other and every time it goes down.
Okay.
Give you an example of what John's talking about. We were meeting with them the other day. Obviously, they're going to be here this week with the State Treasurers Conference. A grader, for example, a county was looking for a grader, and it started off $350,000 to $400,000. Well, the county ended up, after it was all said and done, bought a brand new grader for $150,000.
Okay. So
Sounds like a good deal.
we just need an emotion for permission to try to bid.
To either bid or look through CAECO. Is that,
Do both?
do both?
Yeah.
Well, can we do, yeah, I guess we can, can't we?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as Martin says. Say you can't, it
Then
means
we'll
you
need a
can't.
motion and a second to do
Good
that.
night, Kirk.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
That's all.
Sure. Thank you. Aaron, with 911, do you have anything for us this morning? Danny Maston, Solid Waste. Adam Scales with our animal shelter. All right, I'm gonna skip here and go to Carolyn Mouse with tourism. I think she's got some
I do.
items for us.
I do. I just, good morning, and thanks for letting me come in. I just wanted to talk about sort of this first quarter, because, you know, January, February, and even into early March is very, very busy with boat sport and travel shows. I went off to Cincinnati, which is basically an 8-day show. They're up there for 10, but 2 days they're closed. Louisville, Lexington, and then Bandit, Indianapolis. And in those shows, we handed out somewhere around, 12,000 pieces of literature. Now, take into consideration that's our brochure, and then it's rack cards on summer nights and master musicians and the wineries and the battlefield and Summer Splash and other things like that. But then we also sent brochures off to AAA Vacations and a fishing expo. Those were 2 different shows in Columbus, Ohio. We did Lakeland, Florida, Huntington, West Virginia, Novi, Michigan, and Nashville, Tennessee. And we do that through a Kentucky Tourism Services that attends the shows and talks about what all we have to offer. So all in all, 16,000 pieces of information were handed out. In addition, Crappie USA is coming in April 7th with a spring qualifier for their classic that will be here in October of this year. And we handed out about 1,000 of those schedules. And in that, there is a huge 2-page advertisement of our area. And so it goes over very, very good. Conversations were great. Lots of camping questions. PC Park was a star. I don't know how many times that I opened up to show a photo of the park, and people would come to me and they wanted to talk about camping, and they say, we hear PC Park is great. They wanted me to highlight it in the brochure and stuff like that. So it was an ongoing topic of conversation about what's going on at PC Park and how great it is. So that was very, very good. We also, beginning in January, we start getting, because the Kentucky Official Visitor Guide drops in early January, we start getting requests from them. So as of today, sending out requests, which is sending out our brochures, 968 have been mailed out since the 5th of February, actually. And then with events and attractions like the upcoming event this week, or meeting this week, we've done 2,200 packets of information. So it's a busy part of the year. But along with this legislation, and there's always legislation that affects very positively tourism or very negatively, so we have to get involved. And I do try to stay involved there. I will tell you about a couple of things that really worries me. The proposed House and Senate budget that I have seen over the last few days are suspending funding for new Kentucky Tourism Development Acts. And that is funding through that act that actually helped get Marriott here. They were able to borrow some funds through that. And so we are pleading with both the House and the Senate to leave that legislation in. It does not affect the budget. It is tourism funding that is just a line item in their budget. But they're proposing taking that out. And another issue is House Bill 333 dealing with Airbnbs. You know, here in the state, across the state, there are a tremendous amount of lodging facilities, or homes, I should say, that are either renting out a bedroom, or they're renting out an apartment in their home, or they're renting out their homes. But they're not on the radar for collecting transient tax. And up until August of last year, they weren't collecting state sales tax, nor the 1% transient tax for the state. The state did an agreement with them, and they started collecting the state sales tax and the transient tax. So there is a representative in Northern Kentucky that introduced House Bill 383, and it is to get them on board with collecting the rest of the transient tax across the state. What has happened is because they really do not want it to go into legislation and be a legislative issue, they have come on board. There are lots of good conversations, and they said they understand the powers to be at Airbnb. They understand that it is their responsibility to collect that tax. However, they would not collect it and send it out to all of the individual places, such as the CVB here locally. They want to send it to one place that would then disperse it across the state. Of course, the state's goes into the Department of Revenue. We are asking that it may be sent somewhere else. We're not sure if it went to the Department of Revenue, when they would then get it out to the locals and what they would charge us for that service. So the conversations are continuing. I don't think the House bill is going to continue, but it's not been taken off the docket. It's just, it'll stay there until something happens with it. And then House Bill 490, it's city revenue. It's the levy of a restaurant tax. And actually those proceeds would be used to defer pension contributions. So, you know, the restaurant tax ran right along with the transient tax, and those funds were to help with tourism projects and to fund tourism. We've got a lot of CVBs across the state. That's their major source, because they're areas that do not have a lot of lodging, so the restaurant tax is their tourism dollars. But House Bill 90, and I don't think that one will go anywhere, but I make you aware of it. The last we've seen of it was in late February, so nothing has happened in March. So anyway, other than that, events coming up, the crappie fishing tournament on April the 7th, the Kentucky Green Living Fair on April the 7th, Clean Sweep US Highway 27 is April 17th, Pork in the Park, of course, is April 20th and 21st, and then First Summer Nights Cruise is is in April the 21st. MMF is the 12th and 13th, and so there's lots of things. I did hand out an events calendar to you. I think it takes you up through maybe late April, but we update that on a daily basis, whatever we see in the newspaper, whatever we see on Facebook, and then every Monday we send it out to a whole host of individuals and lodging associations, restaurants that want that events calendar. So if somebody's asking them what's happening in Pulaski County, you will also see that there are some things in surrounding counties on there too, because we do update Wayne County's events calendar and also the Battlefield's events calendar. So other than that, I have made aware, and you are probably aware, that my retirement is looming very fast, and the board had asked that I
When is it? I haven't heard.
submit. I retired once, it didn't work out. Here I am almost 13 years later. So the board requested that I do, that I post in the newspaper the job announcement, and so I did that, and we have been collecting resumes this month. The board hopes that they will be able to start interviewing in April and have somebody on board after they've given their notice and everything by June the 1st. And then they'll work with me for a month there, and we'll go forward with that. And I will, my target date is sometime around the 1st of August right now. So, any
Carolyn,
questions?
I was just going to say you've done a great job. You had a good career in tourism, and we're thankful that we've got to spend time with you. I know your heart is in making things better here, so we sure appreciate it. And I know you're not going to be gone until August, but I know we're going to miss you. But thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I don't plan on going away, but a couple of days a week sounds like my cup of tea going forward.
Okay.
Hey, Carolyn, why don't you go with us today? We're taking Jones.
I already asked her.
Okay.
You know,
And
and
she
I would,
declined.
I really would. I know I'm speaking tomorrow about tourism for Joan, or Friday.
Yes.
Friday about tourism for Joan. My daughter made me aware last night, she's coming in this evening for her birthday, and so we're taking her out to dinner, and if I hadn't made that promise, I would certainly do that. Thank you for that invitation. I appreciate it.
Congratulations to you, and thanks for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Carolyn. And it's a good segue because next is Joan, and I just want to brag on Joan a little bit. She is the president this year of CACFO, which is the Kentucky Association of County Treasurers, Finance Officers. It's a big responsibility that she's got, and
Friday.
one thing that is her responsibility is hosting the annual conference, and so she's doing that starting. Actually, there'll be a little kickoff tonight, and then the session actually starts Wednesday through Friday. So I know she's been busy and trying to get this coordinated, and it's been stressful. But Joan, we're proud of you.
Thank you.
You've represented us well, and we're excited to have all these people come into Pulaski County to see what we have to offer. I hope the weather will kind of get a little bit warmer for them as they try to enjoy their time here. But thank you for representing us.
Well, and I want to thank all of you all. I want to thank the judge and the court because you all have put up with me during all this, and I know a lot of people have come. I know Jason came in and asked me a question. I kind of gave him a blank look because that's kind of conference is all that's been on my brain. So hopefully after Friday, I might be me again. I don't know if that's what y'all want or not, but I hope to get back in order, and I will be happy to pass the gavel off to someone else. But I do have stuff. And Carolyn, of course, you missed the most important event, which is my conference starting tomorrow. You know that,
And
but whatever.
And
That's
Carolyn actually helped arrange, or
Yes, she
took
did.
care of
She
the
helped.
activities for this evening.
Yes, she did, and I thanked her for that, or I meant to if I didn't, but I do.
Well, and she's handing out lots of our information, so that's
Yes,
that's a win-win.
yes. The first thing I have are, excuse me, this is not a good time to lose my voice, I don't think. Our budget transfers for the jail fund. This is moving things from a contingent line item into line items that have no, that are running short.
Do we have a motion to accept that?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The next item I have are fund transfers from the general fund to, one is to industrial development and one is to the jail fund.
Need a motion for fund transfers?
Motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, motion carries.
That's all I have, except that I will be out of pocket for the rest of the week.
All right, well, we hope everything goes well, and let us know if you need help.
Thank you.
All right, no further business then, unless you gentlemen have anything you want to add? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion and second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Thank you all.